Hello everybody, happy Saturday the 21st June 2025. If I don't repeat it each and every day, I'll forget. So just bear with me. Anyway, it's a very blustery day today. It's already knocked over my camera twice. But it's the end of the week, so we're gonna wrap this week up with the energy and see what's going on. Before I do that, let's recap, especially if you're very first time here. I wish to say hello to you. I'm a new channel, so I haven't gotten a whole lot of subscribers or viewers yet, and that's all good. I understand that's pretty normal. So I'm patient. I'll be at it for a while. I'll be adding new content as we go, and a lot of other videos that aren't necessarily associated with runes and so on. I'm going to be making a lot of different documentaries and so on. Of course, about esoteric, religious, or spiritual, to be more precise, topics, as well as things that are, you know, kind of out there, you know, talking about cryptids, maybe extraterrestrial. We'll be talking about all kinds of different things, and really going down deep in the rabbit hole and so on in terms of conspiratorial type topics. Now I know that everybody thinks that you're supposed to have a specific niche, whatever, however you pronounce it, and yeah, that may be so if your whole objective is simply to make money, but my objective is to share knowledge first and foremost. And if this is meant to flourish, God will make it happen. He will. So, you know, I may start another website at some future point, but right now, especially being in my current predicament, it's hard enough just to do this, you know. I'm making it happen, and I'm being consistent each and every day. I made some new friends, a couple of squirrels and a bluebird. They seem to follow me everywhere, and I've gotten so used to me now that they pretty much eat out of my hands and come and visit me every day. So I also had an otter come up to me the other day, and I'm a little ways away from the water, so you know, for him to be this far inland and everything else and come up and see me, it was a treat, you know. It was nice. Sometimes it makes me feel like I'm Dr. Dolittle or something. And if you're not aware who that is, he's the old Disney character way back in the day. I think it was my very, oh shit, got blew over again. My very first date, actually, with a girl when I was just a young kid. That's the movie we went and saw together. Dr. Dolittle. I know it is a more innocent time. 1960s, early 1960s. So, anyways, that being said, the animals, they've come to adopt me. Now, to the energy. Some of the energy that we got throughout the week, with one exception only, was all extremely positive and potent. Now, we did have the goddess Birchka show up, and as far as gods and goddesses go, that's really about it for this particular week. But we had, or at least recently, we had Yera show up, and that basically talks about cycles, harvests, things of that nature. So, you know, long story short, the efforts that you put forward to some endeavor some time ago, you're going to start getting the fruits of that here very soon, is what that implies. Now, Athala also, you know, talks a little bit more about that very same thing, only it's talking specifically in terms of legacies, inheritances, family, ancestry, and ancestral property and so on being distributed. And again, that could go along with the legal battles that we talked about earlier, which also is covered under Athala. Now, we also got Manas. Manas in reverse talks about, and this is the only negative one we got all week, which is selfishness, being uninvolved, victimhood, egoism, feeling alone, depressed, and maybe even a little bit of manipulation going on. And we all have both the light and the dark inside of us. We all do. Thing about spirituality, when you really start getting into this endeavor and really want to walk this path, you have to come face to face with your demons. I mean, and that's really what shadow work is all about. looking at those things you know are out of balance, those things which you know are not good for you or others around you and so on, and really coming to terms with them and taking the reins, you know, into your hands. Instead of allowing them to run and rule you, you take control. And by finding that balance, you become literally closer to the spiritual domain, the spiritual world. It will find you, trust me. So that's kind of what, you know, this is all basically getting us to anyways, right? We're all on this journey to become more enlightened and, you know, better human beings, spiritual human beings. We also got Berkana, and Berkana is basically, again, talks about the goddess Berchka, which is the great mother. Talks about new beginnings, which implies that the end of a cycle is near or has already occurred for you, depending on where you are on the timeline. And being that time is fluid, it's going to be different for each and every person that watches this. Okay, and just again to recap, time basically being fluid. And I don't want to get too much in the physics of it because then it gets really, really confusing. But just think in terms of time or fate as being a river, okay? And that river is going to flow at various speeds. Sometimes it flows very quickly past you, and it makes you very unstable as far as your footing goes, right? Other times it barely moves at all, and you have no problem whatsoever with your footing and all that kind of stuff. So sometimes the time goes very quickly past you, and you may already be well into these things, or even they may have already come and gone in terms of your timeline. And other people, they're just starting to see some of these things emerge into their lives. So it affects us all at different rates, different speeds, and different things. But if you're here, it will affect you. It is basically going to happen to some degree and in some way for you. Okay? Nothing happens by chance, nothing. So that's what Berkana is. It talks again about feminine fertility, physical and spiritual liberation, basically rewards, growth, desire, love affairs, new birth, as I've already stated, and new ventures being taken. Perhaps you're starting your own website or maybe some other type of business venture. So these, again, all of them were very positive except for Tuesday's pool, where the overall energy was madness in reverse. And Thursday we got Sowilla. That's a very powerful rune. So powerful that the Nazis decided to adopt it. It was the rune that they used for their SS. And of course, now they perverted something that was never meant for that particular thing. Although it does stand for victory, power, and attack. That's probably, you know, the reason why they adopted it. But it also talks about sun, the life-giving force of the sun itself. There would be no life without it, right? Talks about enlightenment as well, and honor, life force, a time of rest, a time of clear vision, achievements being met, positive changes, health, success, and getting in tune with your higher self or your intuition. Pretty good. And then we got Othala yet again. I've already read that. I'm not going to go ahead and go over it again, but we got it twice. And it's, again, it's a very positive rune, and it deals with inheritances, legal matters, success in those matters. Now, for the pre-Saturday pull that I did last Sunday, I got the rune Ehwaz. And Ehwaz is the letter E in their phonetic alphabet, and it stands for horse, partnership, and trust. You know, there has to be trust between a horse and the one riding that horse, and so on. And when you have two horses, they have to work together in unison if they're pulling a carriage or whatever the case may be. So again, there's some trust, cooperation that has to be, you know, developed there. That's kind of what it's getting to. And it also talks about loyalty, progress, future changes, again, transportation of all types, development and harmony, teamwork. It also can imply an ideal marriage or partnership of some type. and it also has a way of confirming the other runes around it. All right, so with that being said, and all the positivity that we got this week, despite what you might perceive as being negative, acts or whatever the case may be, situations that arise in your life, you have more than enough of the positive energy available to not succumb to those types of endeavors and learn to control yourself. I mean, that's really what this is. It's, again, we're talking about a spiritual journey and coming to face to face with your demons and exercising them, telling them who's in charge, not them, right? You are. All right, so before I pull some oracle cards, we'll go ahead and get the runes. I stirred them up. I've already did my invocation. I already called upon Odin and, of course, my guides, God, and all of that. So, that being said, let's pull out the energy for our present and see what we have in store for today. So, all right, so what we have is Legus. All right, and Legus has a lot to do with, water and things of that nature. If you look at the 4 elements, what the tarot cards represent, water oftentimes talks about, your emotions and intuition, things of that nature. So it's found in the 3rd family Aeter group under Tyre, the god of earth. The great sky god of justice and things of that nature in the 3rd Aeter. And it stands for anything water related, lakes, oceans, seas, rivers, whatever. But again, it talks about your emotions, your intuition, psychic, feminine. Now again, you can have feminine attributes even if you're masculine, okay? If you're a man, you have both masculine and feminine characteristics in you. And part of the shadow work is also balancing out those types of things. And it doesn't mean a man becoming effeminate or anything like that at all. It just means the attributes of femininity, which is basically a nurturing, an intuitive, and a creative energy of sorts. As a man, you want to be a better overall, more complete human being. You want to embrace those attributes which are positive from the feminine side of things, just like they would benefit from the masculine positive traits, especially if they wanted to go forward and become more successful, in this world today on their own. So it's a very good rune and everything else. So now in the reverse, it would mean escaping temptations, and we got this yesterday in the reverse: greed, confusion, poor judgment, despair, and fear. So that it's in the upright is a positive sign. Okay, so again, use your intuition, learn to trust your gut, or that small voice that you hear sometimes. And it takes a lot of practice, it does. I still sometimes overlook it. I overlook it a lot, probably. Sometimes we don't even recognize it as such. But have you ever thought, after not doing something you thought you should do, and it comes out and bites you in the ass later on? You say, damn, I knew I should have listened to myself. We've all done that, right? But that's your intuition. That's why we need to learn to hear it, one, and then to listen and trust it. It's your soul. It's not going to lie to you, okay? That's your soul speaking to you. Let's look at some influences, please. What are some influences for this very blustery California day today? I don't know what the weather's like where you're at. I hope it's a beautiful day and you're enjoying it. All right, so influence for today. Let's see. Pull out one here. They guys. That's letter D in their alphabet, and it also is in the 3rd Aet group or family under Tyr. I'm not really sure how to pronounce it, honestly. It's spelled T-Y-R. I say Tyre, usually. But anyway. Again, sometimes the books, they're good about how to pronounce the actual letters specifically and so on. But sometimes, like pronouncing the gods' names properly, I'm not really sure. It depends on the language too. Like Odin is actually Wooden, or it could be other things that don't even sound even remotely like that. So depending on whether it's Scandinavian, Icelandic, which is pretty much the same thing, I think, and or German, or whatever the case may be, whatever culture, it's going to sound a little bit differently, right? And then when it's translated into English, it sounds different still. So just so you understand, it's not like I'm not trying to learn all this. I am, but every book I pick up shows something that's a little different than the previous book, and it's like, well, which one of these guys is right, But that's the things that you come across in academia on any level, anyways. If you get outside status quo, what's accepted or what you're supposed to believe in the books that they say you should read, you're always going to find things like that deviate. And to me, you want to learn, listen to the mavericks, the ones who always get outside status quo. They're the ones who are really going to be able to teach you something. So that's just my opinion. But what does Dagaz mean? Well, Dagaz means day, dawn, daybreak, transformations, again, going nicely with the change of a cycle. Balance, ambition, growth, and again, it could also reference the fact that maybe you're starting up this new endeavor and so on. Maybe a new website or some other type of, new job or something like that, or something that you hope to get started with friends, family, whoever. And it's saying it's a good time to do all those things. So you certainly have the positive energy to make it successful. So, all right, one more influence, please, and we'll get our future energy. What's another influence? That's a good influence, though. Doing so good so far. Another influence, another influence. I got Yera again. Damn. And I stir the heck out of these things, man. Okay. So, Yera in the upright. Alright, so Yera is in the second group or family under Heimdall. Heimdall's the warrior family, and he's the one that guards the gates of Asgard. Okay. Now, what does it mean? Well, we already talked about it this day, but harvest, cycles, things like that, reaping the rewards of previous efforts, seeing them manifest for you. Other things it may mean are legalities, rewards, peace, and commitments. So maybe you're committed in this new endeavor. Maybe you're committing to a new relationship of some kind. Okay? Those kinds of things. All right. Lastly, I do well with the heat. I've been in some of the hottest places on Earth. I was stationed at 29 Palms where it gets close to well over 120 degrees in some cases. That's freaking hot. I mean, you literally could fry an egg on the asphalt. It melts rubber off tires and everything. It gets so hot sometimes. And of course, I've been to Sahara Desert. I've been Saudi Arabia, been not Afghanistan, but Iraq. So Beirut, Lebanon, been all over the Middle East. So, all right, what's the future energy? Future energy, please, for the collective. Future energy. All right, future energy. What is it? So Willow yet again. Only this time it is with the pink stones. Okay. And so Willow, again, is their sun, victory, power, attack, basically enlightenment, honor, and your life force. Again, everything positive. So it looks like even our future today, all the way up to midnight, is going to be a positive one. So you have a good day to look forward to, and I hope that you will utilize that energy, for producing something that is beneficial not only to yourself, but to others. With that being said, let's go ahead and look at our hidden oracles, hidden message, and see what Spirit has to add to all of this, okay? See what else the Spirit has to add to this. These cards are so damn stiff, man. Whoop, whoop. Whoop, whoop. Don't blow away on me. Come on. Shit. Well, that was a mess. Let's do it the old-fashioned way. It's easy, hard as hell to shuffle. Alright, so what does my collective need to see? What kind of information do you want to share with the collective today? What hidden truths do they need to know? Well, again, somebody out there saying they're becoming a better person. Well, saying it is one thing, but you don't judge a book by its cover, you do it by the contents, right? Within. And I say that, you know, if their actions don't live up to their words, well, I'll let you determine what that means for you. But to me, it's just it's a no-brainer. Hidden truth. Not somebody you should waste your time with. I'm keeping accurate records of all of these things. So I can always look back on it later on. Okay, I'm going to pull out a little. Oh! Oh, shit. I told you it was a blustery day. Shit. I don't know how this is going to work, man. Hope you don't get dizzy watching this. Fuck, man. Yeah, we got some big old freaking gusts of wind coming up. It's blowing this tripod around like 4 times now. Alright. I'm trying to support it, but it's just not enough, I guess. Alright, like I was saying, let's see about love now. Sorry, guys. I didn't mean to take you on that roller coaster ride. I'm becoming a better person, okay? Well, I hope that's true, whoever it's meant for out there. I hope you yourself are becoming a better person as well. That's what we should all be striving to do, right? I know I do. Every day I learn something. I seek to learn constantly. Everything that I do is based on just being better. Physically, mentally, spiritually, psychologically. It's all about being a better person. Alright. Alright, Lord, so what is it that my collective needs to know about love? Hand of cards. Damn, we pulled this yesterday. Alright, well, I shuffled them, so apparently somebody needs to see this. It says, take a chance, risk. It says, being strategic, options, and not showing your hand. Gambling. Whoa. I'll let you look at that. I don't even know where to begin to, you know, make heads or tails out of that for the collective, because it's going to mean something different for everybody out there. I don't gamble on any level, so I don't gamble with my relationships or anything else. I'm always straight up. I'm always honest, and the moment I determine somebody else isn't, then I cut them off. It's that simple. Just cut them out. Move on. That was not an easy lesson in my life to learn, because I'm empathic. I always want to see the best in people, but my whole life I've had to learn the hard way that not everybody is worthy of that energy. They're not. And you have to be willing to make that determination for yourself too. And God doesn't want you to be somebody's friggin', you know, doormat or anything of that nature. He doesn't. But he wants you to be wise and discerning. And yes, you should actually, you know, be kind, forgiving. But You know, I mean, even Jesus said that you should forgive your enemy not 7, but 7 times 70 times. That's 490 times if you do the math, right? So even he put a cap on it. And if somebody's done something to you for years, continuously doing it, no matter how many times you've forgiven them and helped them, it's time to turn your back upon that person. It's just that simple. They have already proven they're not going to change. And you do not have to allow them to steal any more of your energy. You've done everything that you are required to do, and you will not have that held against you in any way. If anything, you may be having to learn some difficult lessons as far as being a doormat. Something I had to learn the hard way, because I always thought it was better to forgive than not, you know? It's just something that I learned as a child, and I've always tried to act that way, but I realized that wasn't true. And as a result, I've allowed myself to be tormented and punished a lot of my life because of that. People are not, there are many people out there who are just not good people. They're not. Some of them are soulless, in fact. They've literally either sold themselves out to the point they no longer are there, and something else has taken over the wheel, if you know what I mean. Or they're like the Agent Smiths of the Matrix, if you will. And these dark entities, souls, archons, demons, whatever they may be, can easily jump in and out of them and use them however they want to. So, I mean, I've seen both sides of that, so I know it's true. But to each their own. You have to discover your own truth. And I don't want to end it on a sour note, so I'll just say that I hope you guys have a great, wonderful rest of the end of your week. And I will see you tomorrow with a whole week spread, as well as one for specifically Sunday as well. So we're going to be doing 2 of them tomorrow. Okay? And with that being said, I hope you have a wonderful day. I've already said that, but oh well. At least I, said something positive twice, I suppose. Anyway, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye. Have a good one.